I got so rattled, and I think I got a concussion, and my head hurt so bad from the pressure underwater. But the waves were so good that day, I just ended up surfing like 4 more hours.
Jake Maki, big wave prodigy, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan. Appreciate it.
No worries at all, mate. Look, I was thinking about how to introduce you, and I think the best way to do it is I'm going to pull up this photo. So, you know the photo.
Yeah.
So, like, this is wild. So, first off, you're deeper than Matt Bromley there, who I'm pretty sure is the guy next to you.
Yeah.
So, and anyone who's listening and not watching, I'll quickly describe it, but I'm pretty sure it's Justine Dupont on the outside, Matt Bromley, and then deepest is you coming in head first, full swan dive in the eddy on an absolute monster of a wave. And, you know, I wanted to pull this photo up, not because it's just a crazy wipeout, but I think it shows your willingness to go and just really, well, do this no matter how small the chance of success. And does that sort of sum you up a bit? And is that a bit of a key for how you've achieved so much at such a young age?
Yeah, that's a crazy photo. It kind of reminds me of my best Ross Clark Jones impression of him in the last eddy, just diving over the falls.
Yep.
But yeah, that's me deepest, and on that wave specifically, or in that heat actually, in the whole contest, in my mind, I was like, I just want to go steep and deep, and I'm in it to win it. I want to try and make these waves, which I didn't, but I want to try and make the craziest drops, and I wanted to really get barreled. And this wave, I was like, it was, as you can see, it's barreling right over me. That was kind of my greatest opportunity on the waves that I had to try and pull in. And I was paddling just like kind of under the lip and took off and grabbed rail, and I had kind of a good line. And then the rest, or Matt and Justine, they're dropping in, and I didn't know what it was or who it was at the time, but I just saw a board, and I'm like, oh, like, no way I'm gonna make this, and I don't want to hit somebody's board. So I tried to straighten out, and as I tried to straighten out, I ended up in the air. So it was really just my eyes looking straight, and I couldn't turn my 10-foot one board. I couldn't turn straight, and then I dug my outside rail and just flew backwards over the falls, and went over the falls again and got super pounded. But it was, I don't know, it was fun. But after that wave, there was like a bunch of closeout sets behind it, and I got sucked all the way to the middle of the bay. And the jet ski actually came up to try and grab me. One of my friends who's a lifeguard, he came up to try and grab me. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm going to try and make it out, because the jet ski would have had to turn around and go to the beach and wait out the set. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like the last wave in the set, and I can just jam it out and paddle out. Because, like, in my mind, I'm in a heat, so I want to try and maximize my time in the lineup and try and catch more waves. But the next wave doubled up on my head and snapped that board in half. So.
Oh, no way. So what happens then? You lose your board. They bring another one out?
Yeah, the ski brought me to the beach, and I had one of my friends holding on to my backup board, and I ran up the beach, put the leash on, and I started running towards the end of the bay where we paddle out, which was like across a really far stretch of like soft sand. I was just getting ready to do a full sprint, but the jet ski waited for me in the shore break, and there wasn't any more set waves, so I got out on the ski, and they took me right back out. So saved some energy. But
perfect.
Yeah, that was I think my second wave of the day, and that kicked it off.
How good. Well, I've got a bunch of questions on that, but I've saved them for later. I just wanted to kick off with that because I think that photo sort of sums you up, like being, you know, speaking of achievements, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure you got 2 Eddie Invitational competitor. Wave of the Bay winner for 2021-22, Pipe Masters competitor, and you're only 20. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's correct. I was lucky enough to
No, you're right.
Yeah, it was the winter of, I guess 2021 and 2022. Is that what it said?
2021, 2022 for Wave of the Bay.
So that winter of 2021, 2022, the Eddie Ical Foundation and kind of the event coordinators, I think it was during like that time where there was still like some crazy lockdown kind of COVID stuff going on over here in Hawaii, and they knew they weren't going to be able to run the event with like thousands and thousands of people on the beach and that whole production. So they decided to do this online video contest called Wave of the Bay. And the rules were pretty much submit all your video clips by, I don't remember the date actually, but by a certain date, and they're all going to be judged, and whoever gets the Wave of the Bay, there was a big poster. It was pretty cool actually, and it was just all words, just like Wave of the Bay, Eddie Aikau, winner gets an invite to the next running Eddie Aikau.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like, nobody's gonna, like, I'm never gonna get this chance again. I gotta try it. But the rules were you had to be 18, and at the time that winter I was 17, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it anyway. Like, so I was actually in class at school, and I had my phone up. It was the last day of the holding period for that video contest. And I went through and sent in all my photo sequences, all my videos, and everything I got from Waimea Bay that year on the last day before the holding period closed. I was in the middle of class, just like, I don't even know what was going on in class. I was just like, I'm sending all these emails in. And yeah, I remember you had to write your like what day it was, and I think maybe like what board you're riding and age or something. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I put in 17, and I kind of forgot about it. And as that judging process went on with those guys at the Eddie Aikau Foundation and stuff, I was like not really thinking about it. Like I wasn't even really technically supposed to get it, but I got this email one day. Like, don't really check my emails that much, but I've been trying to stay on it. And I checked my email, and it said, congratulations, you're the winner of the Eddie Aikau something something. Like it cut off, and I was like, I saw it, and I was like, I thought it was fake. Like, I clicked on it and I read the whole thing, and it said, you're the winner of the Eddie Aikau Wave of the Bay. And I was reading the whole email, and it says, congratulations, you're invited to the next Eddie Aikau Invitational competition. And I was like, wow. Like, and it was because I was 17, they chose another winner, and it was Jamie Mitchell.
Yes.
And he's actually my neighbor. We live in the same neighborhood here at Sunset Beach. But he was like the legitimate, like, over 18, and I got the lucky little wave in there when I was 17. Like a wild card. Pretty much, yeah. It was just like kind of as lucky as you can get. All the stars aligned for me, but the wave that it happened on, I'm pretty sure I submitted a bunch of waves. Like, I submitted like a big switch stance ride I got, and just some like completions, and the one that they said won the video contest. Yep, right there.
This one here?
It was a Wipeout actually, which makes it even more crazy.
But that was like going on.
That was the biggest swell of that winter at Waimea Bay. And I was out there, and in my mind, when I surf a session like that, especially at Waimea Bay, but like kind of all the big wave sessions, is my mind, I kind of just turn everything off, and I just want to go. Like, no matter how big or gnarly it is, I just want to go for it. So I saw that wave coming, and I think there maybe in that angle, yeah, you see every single person in the lineup going over the wave.
Yep.
And I was paddling, and you see right next to me, right below my board right there, is Uncle Makua Rothman, and he was saying, "Go boy, go Jake." And yeah, I was paddling, and I wanted to go, and I went, and I tried to grab rail, and the second I stood up, I looked down, and it's just air under my board. And I took the leap of faith, and I didn't have a pole vest or nothing. I was like just spring suit, and I jumped over the falls, went over the falls, and got so pounded, and I actually got sent to the bottom and hit the reef, which is like, I don't know how deep it is, but it's got to be like close to 30 feet out there. It's so deep. And I was getting so ragdolled I couldn't equalize, and my head felt like it was going to explode. And I remember just like climbing my leash, and I finally got to the surface, and I got up, and like 5 feet in front of me, the lips landing, and I see John bottom turn into the barrel on the next one. I took that one on the head and got super pounded again and held under and just dragged all the way in for so long. And yeah, that was that experience. But I got so rattled, and I think I got a concussion, and my head hurt so bad from the pressure underwater. But the waves were so good that day, I just ended up surfing like 4 more hours out there.
Wow. So
But
this,
yeah, oh,
sorry.
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you go, mate. You go.
what I was told on that wave is because everybody was going over and nobody wanted it, and I wanted it, and I went. That was kind of what Uncle Clyde had told me, was that was like kind of embodying the Eddie would go, kind of the Eddie Aikau spirit was just going for it. Even though I never made the wave, I went for a wave that nobody else wanted, and yeah, it was super cool.
So that's what it's about.
That was the gnarliest wipeout probably of my life until this Eddie, actually.
I've got that photo too. So I've actually pulled a few up. I did a bit of stalking beforehand. We'll just watch this one more time. So this wave here, I guess, essentially set you up to where you are right now. Like going in it twice, Pipe Masters, all of that probably came from this wave.
Yeah, that was...
That's so heavy.
That's actually... That board on the far left is my friend Kobe Clements. That's our board, and I let him use it, and he snapped the leash on that wave. He got caught inside.
Eh? Yeah, but that's heavy. So heavy.
That was wild.
Yeah. So how old were you there? You were 17.
Yeah, 17.
So I was literally only thinking about that this morning. So my son, I was fishing with him. He's 9. And like in Australia, you grow up around the beach and everything. So it's not an unusual thing. But man, I still watch him like a hawk. Like I don't let him down there on his own. None of that sort of stuff. You were what, 7 years older than him? Hold on, 8 years. Whatever that is. 8 years. So you were 8 years older than him and surfing this kind of wave. So what was your progression through surfing? Because that blows my mind. That age doing that, at any age doing that, let alone 17 doing that. So what was your progression? Where did you start? We'll take it back to the start of you. So where did you begin?
I'll tell you what, I've been wiping out since day one.
Do you think you learn more than wiping out?
Yeah, every once in a while I'll make a wave. But no, my very first kind of like real memory of surfing, I was probably about 6 years old, and I grew up on the Big Island. And when I was really little, I lived near Hilo Town, and my first wave was at this wave called Honolulu, and my dad pushed me, and I got up to my knees and just kind of froze and rode all the way up to the beach. But instead of like sandy North Shore beaches or Australian beaches, it's just all rocks. And I rode all the way up and got just totally cut up. And that's my earliest wipeout and memory of surfing. But yeah, I grew up on the Big Island, and I'd moved to the town of North Kohala, which is the very tip of the island on the Big Island. And I was there, I want to say like 5 or 6 years old. I lived there from that age until I was 14, and then we moved to Oahu. But I grew up over there, and my dad is a surfer, and he helped me a lot, taught me how to surf, everything like that. And growing up over there was really hard to surf because I loved surfing so much. But where we had to go was like 4-wheel drive, off-road. You got to drive like down the dirt roads, 4-wheel drive, get to the cliff, hike down the cliff, walk over the rocks, jump off the rocks. And that's kind of how all the waves were. It was like it was a mission to go. And I was just a grom at the time, like had my bike every once in a while, but I'd never really, like, I live far from the beach. So I never really would like bike with my surfboard. But me and my friends, we would either hitchhike to go down to surf to like the top where you start 4-wheel driving and hitchhike to the top and hike down. Or my dad's a fireman, so he was working 24-hour shifts. So the days he were off, he'd take us down in the truck and we'd go surf. And other than that, like a couple of the guys that were older than me, like high school age, they had their 4-wheel drive trucks, and they actually helped out me and my friends a lot growing up because they kind of looked out for us and would help us get to go surf. Because without any of those guys, I'd be surfing like only on the days my dad was off, which wasn't all the time. He'd take up overtime shifts and everything. So that's the first like struggle to go surf was just to get to the wave. And then that island is blocked by Maui for all the winter northwest swells. So it never gets big, and it gets big, but it's very rare and it's not really consistent. So it has its moments, but it wasn't like the ideal place to grow up surfing. But it taught me a lot about like kind of just resilience, and just like I know I had that fire in me because I just wanted to surf so bad, and we'd do anything we could to go surf. And when I got a little older, like the few years before we moved out to Oahu, we'd come over and surf and hang out with my parents' friends and my uncles and just friends I had from surfing out here on Oahu. We'd come over, and I remember like one of the first times I came here coming from the Big Island, we pulled up to like Aukai or something, and we're gonna go surf the sandbar, and that was like unheard of to me. Like walk down the beach, and I remember just like jumping hands in the air into the sand, and just I would ride my waves all the way and walk off on the sand. Like it was the coolest thing ever. Like didn't have to worry about dinging your board or losing your fins or anything. But that was kind of like my early stages of surfing on the Big Island, just kind of rugged and roughing it and getting it done. And yeah, there wasn't really any big wave sessions in my life when I was on the Big Island up until I was 14. And then we moved out here to Oahu, my parents, my sister, and I started high school at Kahuku High School, and my sister started intermediate school. And from there, we're like close enough. We live right on the bike path here, kind of by Sunset Beach, Backyards, and VLAN. We're kind of in that little stretch right here, and got our bikes, got the surfboard rack. And since we moved here, like that first winter or two, every day I'd get on my bike, go surf, hit all the spots. No matter what wave was good, I'd try and go and surf. And I just was really fired up. I was so stoked I finally made it out here. And every day after school, go bike to go surf, weekends all day at the beach, and just really spent a lot of time surfing. And yeah, as the years went on, I got just kind of more comfortable and just spent more and more time in the water. And that's when I started getting into more bigger surf. And it was just kind of cool. Like it's cool for me to look back on it now because it wasn't even that long ago, but I had such a cool like rapid progression. And I just was like just really amped on surfing, and still am. But like especially like when I was at Grom, it was just like this is like the best place in the world for surfing, and all the professional surfers I've looked up to my whole life are here. And there's all the competitions, and all the brands are based around here. And I was like, wow, like I was like, this is my dream. And we got to move out here, and now I'm living it. So it's pretty cool. But
Wow.
yeah.
What a run, eh? So 14, you started, that's when you first sort of experienced the bigger waves, or you had the opportunity to. So 17 was that last clip we showed. That's 3 years from going from everyday smaller surf into that. That most people never surf in their lifetime. Like, did you have some kind of training program, or was it just time in the water? How did you step up to that? Because that's heavy.
Yeah. So honestly, I knew I wanted to be somehow like professional surfer or just competitive surfer, whatever. I knew I wanted to try and get sponsored and try and just live that dream I've always had, which seems like such a far out dream being from the Big Island, because there's not that whole presence here. But I moved here, and I knew like this is my chance. Even when I was so young, I knew this is my chance to really like prove myself. And I knew like we have these competitions called Hawaii Surfing Association HSA contests. We have NSSA, which is National Scholastic Surfing, and those are like the Grom contests under 18 and stuff. And I would always do those, and I'd try and do them. They'd have some on the Big Island. I'd travel to the islands, and I knew like everybody from Oahu was on such a higher level because they get to surf every day. And I knew I wasn't too far off from that, but I knew there were so many people that were really good, and it would be even more of a competitive battle to try and get into that whole thing and go in like the tour and the QS and all that kind of direction. And I kind of figured like as the years went on, when I moved here, probably when I was like 15, 16, 17, I was like, okay, like I kind of maybe found a place where I could stand out because there's nobody else my age really doing this. And I tried it out a few times, and a few people took me under their wing, and from that I was like, oh, I actually do really love this, and I'd way rather surf this big of a wave than a 2-foot choppy wave in a contest. Like, so I really developed that passion for just getting barreled and trying to catch the biggest wave I can. And that's kind of where I was like, I'm going to try and take that direction and take that path and be different from everybody else that's grinding, doing snaps and air reverses on 2-footers, which I still love to do, but it's not like I don't live for that. I live for getting barreled and trying to catch the biggest wave of my life.
Yeah, well, that's a good time to slot in this follower question. So I got a follower question. And for anyone who's listening, if you do want to ask questions to these guys we're interviewing, and girls, of course, then jump in our broadcast channel on Instagram, and we announce it beforehand, and it gives you an opportunity to, if you've got a question for them, you can ask it, whether it's training, whatever. So today's question, though, comes from a fellow big wave charger from Tassie or Tasmania, who you might know, Marty Paradisus. He's a big wave charger from Shipsterns. He's sort of local there. Yeah. And
Legend.
He wants to know. Yeah, man. Yeah. He just came out with a book, actually, When the Ocean Awakens. It's just wild. Crazy stories. But he's got a lot of respect for you. And he wants to know, did you have a mentor growing up? And if you did, can you tell us about that person and what was the most important piece of advice or information they passed on to you?
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you, first of all. And yeah, I have kind of countless people I've looked up to and mentors, especially being surrounded by all these super cool, talented people on the North Shore. But there's a few that really helped me from when I was young, and kind of people I can go to call and ask for advice and stuff. And obviously my dad is one. He's a fireman and used to be a lifeguard, and he surfed his whole life, and he's helped me obviously so much because he's my dad, and he's helped me with a lot of ocean safety stuff, kind of just assessing all the conditions and everything, and really taught me how to read the waves in the water. And yeah, when I got out to Oahu, we actually live at Sean Briley's house. Legend, I'm sure you guys know, pipeline legend, and yes, North Shore hammer, Sean Briley. So he lives here, and his boys are here, and his brother Kalani. Yeah. So they're cool. Upstairs. I'm right here. We got a whole compound over here.
How good.
But yeah. So his brother is Kalani Chapman, and when I got to Oahu, Uncle Kalani really took me under his wing. Me and Sean's oldest son Isaiah. Uncle Kalani would help us out surfing pipeline, and he was the first person to kind of introduce me to all the guys on the North Shore and everybody in the lineup at Pipe. And that was another thing where I got really lucky, and somebody who's like with a status just legendary like that, to be able to take me under their wing and just kind of show me the ropes and introduce me to everybody. And he was like the first person that like took me out, and I surfed like second reef pipe with him and stuff, and paddle out from the beach to some of these outer reefs out here on the North Shore. And I used to work surf lessons for him. I'll still help him out every once in a while, but I've spent a lot of time around him, and he's really helped me out a lot. And another or two other kind of uncles, or whatever how we call them in Hawaii, like two of my uncles that have helped me out a lot since I was really little, that I've known forever, are number one would be Dave Wassel. So yeah, you guys know Dave Wassel, Uncle Dave, big wave charger. And yeah, I probably met him when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and he calls me 5 Cent Jake, or used to sometimes, but he would come and visit on the Big Island, and they'd go hunt, and they'd throw their beer cans everywhere, and we have a 5 cent return. I'd go around and collect all the cans and get 5 cents for him. That was my the beginning of the hustle right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've known him forever, and he's always been a huge support to me, and yeah, just kind of promoting what I've been doing and really helping me out in learning the waves, like learning the lineup and when I go surf with him, or if I go surf somewhere I'm not familiar with that I know he is, I can call him and talk to him about it. And he's just been like a huge supporter to me, and he's got so much knowledge about the ocean, being just kind of one of like the gnarliest chargers for the longest time. Just it's the amount of waves that guy's got and biggest barrels and stuff. It's pretty cool. So he's got a lot of advice to tell me, and he's also a lifeguard as well. So he knows more about the water than anybody, and he's helped me out a lot. And yeah, like when I first started surfing these outer reefs, I'd call him and kind of ask, like a few questions, like any advice he got for me and stuff like that. And but he's really really a big support to me. And another person who is kind of on that level of like just big wave charger ocean knowledge kind of thing was Shane Dorian, and Uncle Shane as I call him. But he lives on the Big Island, and growing up over there, he'd always run this contest. It's called the Banyan's Keiki Classic, the Shane Dorian Keiki Classic, and I'd do that contest every year, and us kids over there would look forward to that the whole year, because that was one of those events where you show up and they give you a goodie bag just for entering, and they have the line of all the professional surfers signing autographs, and it was like the best day ever for surfing, and I got to do that competition a bunch. But yeah, he'd always help us out as kids growing up on the Big Island surfers. He'd always help us out no matter what part of the island we were, where we're from, whatever. Like one year he took us all on a trip to Nicaragua, and there were about, I want to say there were probably at least 10 of us little just Grom surfers. And yeah, we went there on a surf trip. And I remember when he called me, I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like, you want to come to Nicaragua? Like with all whoever and all the boys? And I was like, no way. Like that would be so sick. Yeah, let's go. Like I was so excited. Like I almost felt like I was going to cry, and I was so little. But I was like, wow, no way. And like he's always been my hero too, because he's like another one of those guys that's like one of the best big wave surfers in history. Yeah. And just to have somebody like that just helping us out on the Big Island was so cool. And same thing when I moved over here, I'd have a few sessions with him, and I'd see him, and then yeah, if I'd need advice, or like kind of like, hey, where do you think we'll be good on this swell, or what should I do at this wave, and he'd help give me some lineups and just kind of stuff like that. And he's been a huge one as well. And yeah, honestly, like I've always hung out at the Volcom house since we've lived here, even before, but since we've lived here, I've always gone there and posted up at Pipeline. And there's just the amount of just legendary surfers and just people that go in and out of those houses. It's incredible. Like, and the stories you hear and stuff. And even just from sitting there as a Grom on the deck and just overhearing what guys are saying, like you actually learn so much. And I got to have like a lot of cool conversations with Uncle Derek Ho, when he was out surfing pipe these last few years before he passed away. And yeah, like Gavin Beshin, I've talked a lot about surfing, and just he's got a lot of good advice too. And pretty much everybody who runs in and out of those gates. And Kaimana Henry, Uncle Kaimana, he kind of runs the houses over there. And yeah, just listening to all these guys, and like even if they're not talking to me and I can still hear it, like I still like catch on to a bunch of cool stuff and
take it in.
Just stuff like that. There are things that like sometimes I'll like be like, oh yeah, that's right, like I'll remember, and then I won't forget that. And yeah, I remember actually one of the most important things that I ever heard before. Like I know a lot of people have told it to me, but when it first really stuck in my head, I was surfing in California with my dad and my uncle Rat, who shaped surfboards. And it was just kind of like dumpy shorebreak or whatever, sandbar. And I was a really little Grom. And I remember the one thing he said to me, a lot of people have said it to me, but he was the first where I really remembered it. It was like, you're safer in the barrel. He said, you're safer in the barrel. And since then, I've always just like, unless I absolutely have to go straight, I'll pack the clothes out or whatever. I just I always remember that you're safer pulling into the barrel. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's true or not, but I remember it.
Well, that's got to be the best support crew I've ever heard of for surfing. That's
Yeah,
insane. Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's just, the list goes on and on and on. There's so many other people, and yeah, just I'm so lucky to just be where I am today and just have all access to talking to all these people who know so much.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Well, you're making the most of it, that's for sure.
Trying, yeah.
Oh, that's well, because Dave hosted. Was he one of the commentators for the Eddie?
Yeah,
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 that was
he
sick.
was.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was a great show. Oh well, mate. Moving on from that, that was a damn good answer, that one. So, look, I do have a bunch of questions on the Eddie and pipe. Before we get in that, you're in one of the surfing meccas of the world. Have you traveled across the world, and what are some of your favorite waves that you have been to?
Yeah, so I'd love to travel, especially when it hits our summertime here. Try and hit the southern hemisphere for their winter and get some waves. But from when I was little, I used to just travel for competitions, inter island, do the nationals in California and stuff. And um, after that, and I got to get a little bit better at surfing. I feel like it was good because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I was a kook going to all these places. But when I got to be able to, know how to surf, my dad took me to Indonesia for the first time, and I've been to Australia, and I've been to Fiji a bunch of times. I've been to Tahiti a few times, Mexico, and Nicaragua. And I'm just trying to build the list and try and go as many places as I can, as many opportunities as I can. But I think my go-tos now, I like to go to Tahiti and surf Chopu a lot. I try and do that once a year, and then going to Fiji and surfing Cloudbreak. Cloudbreak and Chopu are two of my favorite waves in the world, and two of the most perfect barrels ever, especially as a goofy foot going front side.
Wow, yeah. I've been to Cloudbreak a few times. Never been to Tahiti. I've been to Tahiti, but I've never surfed it. But I guess speaking of Dave again, he got that monster Cloudbreak barrel, didn't he?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when I was talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Crazy.
huge swell. I think when they were running that Volcom contest back in the day.
Yeah. Absolute giant of a thing.
So sick.
Mate, heavy. And what about a dream wave you haven't been to?
There's a lot. I mean,
one overall.
Shoot. I really want to go and try and surf Jaws. I haven't been to Jaws yet. I always just, whenever a swell pops up, I just I want to go, and then I'm here and I surf the waves here. It's really hard for me to leave the waves here because they're so fun too, and it's so uncrowded.
Yep.
But I'm my next kind of goals are to get a board bag for my guns, and then to go to Jaws and try and surf Pe'ahi. Yeah, and I want to try and, I mean, ideally I want to try and get a barrel out there one day. It might take a few sessions, few years, but I want to try and get a big barrel and try and catch the biggest wave of my life over there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really want to go to a lot of places wherever I can. I'm still chasing that Cloudbreak swell, like the one that Dave, where he got that crazy barrel. I'm still chasing that size wave. I've gotten close to it there a few times, but
have ya? Yeah.
Yeah, haven't gotten it that big and consistent.
How far is that from you? If you jump on a plane, what's the travel time?
It depends. There's a few flights a week, but sometimes they stop in Samoa or Kiribati. So it's kind of like whatever. But if you get a direct flight, it's maybe around 6 hours, maybe a little more.
That's not too bad, is it?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yep.
But
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I love Cloudbreak. I take any chance I get to go down there and surf. But
it's paradise.
Yeah, I'd love to try and just travel and surf big waves. I kind of want to try out Todos Santos, and I'd love to try Mavericks, and I just got to get a good wetsuit and some booties and stuff.
It gets cold over there.
Yeah, but I think it's just it would be so cool to just go around the world and surf these big waves. There's Punta de Lobos in Chile, the big left in front of the rocks, and I've always wanted to surf there too.
Right.
It's huge and you can get barreled and stuff, but I got to get the wetsuit.
Well, to do all that, like I guess through sponsorship or content or something, is there a path for you that you've sort of mapped out where you can do that without having to work an everyday job?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I mean, I ideally win these events when they run, but I haven't had that much luck yet.
Well, you're still
But
making a name for yourself in them.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I kind of just grind it out doing surf lessons when I'm here at home and when there's not a lot of swell, and then I'll do a few odd jobs here and there. Like I was doing a little early season, like I was doing a bunch of like construction and digging holes and tiling and painting and drywall and just kind of doing any kind of work I can pick up.
Yep.
And I'll always, like, if I hear somebody needs work, I'll be like, oh yeah, give me a call, like, because I'm not making any money surfing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it,
But
isn't it? Chasing
yeah,
the dream.
yeah,
Well,
living the dream.
living the dream. Living the
It's
dream. That's
real.
right. That's real. That's right. Well, look,
Yeah.
the Eddie, which you've been in more than once, which is a huge achievement. Can you tell me what the Eddie is and why it's so prestigious?
Yeah, so yeah, I have been lucky enough to surf two Eddies so far, which is wild to think about. I never thought I'd even be in one, or at least this early in my life. But yeah, the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational, it's like, especially in Hawaii, but I think in the world, it's one of the most prestigious events for surfing, and it's honoring Eddie Aikau, who in Hawaii is everybody's hero, and I'm sure he's everybody's hero across the world too growing up. But for us, like, he was just he was the first lifeguard on the North Shore, one of the first like real standout Hawaiian big wave chargers at Waimea Bay and Sunset Beach and on the North Shore. And just, yeah, he sailed on Hokulea, and he put his life on the line to save his friends that were on the boat. And he kind of just embodies this spirit of, yeah, like Eddie would go. They have it perfect. Eddie would go. He would do it for his friends. He would do it for his family, and he'd do it for himself to catch that wave. He'd live the surf and all around the ocean. And yeah, just really cool. Really cool to have an event that big to honor him and to be a part of that. Like, I remember when I was in like 5th grade doing a project in school, a history project, and I did it with one of my friends on Eddie Aikau, and
Wow.
just like, he's just such a hero to everybody, and it's cool to like be able to help represent his name and in the competition and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. And you mentioned Uncle Clyde as well a little bit earlier. I'm assuming you mean Clyde Aikau.
Yeah.
What about he runs it? Does he? Where does he fit into the actual comp?
Yeah, he's like, at the end of the day, he's like the decision maker.
Right.
Yeah, so Uncle Clyde Aikau is Eddie's brother, and yeah, surfed with Eddie and all these legends growing up, and he won one of the Eddie Aikau events back in the day. And yeah, he's kind of the decision maker. Like, he decides if the contest is going to go or not, and he works with all the people on the forecasting and making sure the waves are big enough. But he also does a lot of work making sure that his brother's name is still, and it's still kind of being, put in that way where we're still able to learn more and more about Eddie and his life, and kind of just, yeah, helping the younger generations too learn about his story, because it's so inspiring. And they do like through the foundation, they do like essay contests and little scholarship things, and obviously the big event is the surf competition when it runs, which isn't all the time. And yeah, Uncle Clyde he's the man. He's a pretty much supporter of my dreams. He gave me an opportunity of a lifetime. And yeah, so when I go out, I want to make sure I'm making everybody proud, especially him, because I know he's on the beach watching.
Definitely. Well, and Waimea itself. So that wave, like, how does that differ from all these other big wave spots, or why is it always at Waimea? Because they don't put it at Jaws, they don't put it anywhere else. It's always at Waimea. And what do you know why that is?
Yeah, I don't know how the wave differs from all these waves across the world because I haven't been to them
Yeah,
necessarily, but I can see
yeah,
how it's different. But Waimea is kind of the perfect natural amphitheater. There's Waimea Valley, and all around is just kind of rocks and cliffs, and everybody can, like, when the event runs, you see people on the rocks and cliffs and like places where you thought people could never even get to, like humans have never even got to, but they climb to get the perfect view and perfect angle. And yeah, Eddie Aikau was one of the pioneers of surfing out at Waimea Bay, like just Hawaiian Charger, and that was when the waves got big. That was his spot, and you knew he'd show out and get some huge waves and incredible rides. And he was really ahead of his time, and kind of like still like some of the angles I see on the photos of Eddie Aikau, like he's got an approach that not a lot of people can get close to, even way back then on those crazy boards and single fin, no leash, just full charging. And yeah, that was kind of one of his spots. The first event, I believe just the first event ran at Sunset Beach, and then
okay,
it became at Waimea Bay. The Invitational was always at Waimea Bay, and they hold it. It's got to be like 20-foot Hawaiian, as they say, all day long, and that's why it doesn't run all the time. It's got to be big, and it's got to be like an Eddie would go day. Because
yep,
as like the stories I've heard, when the waves are as big as they get, Eddie was out there going for it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But Waimea Bay is just the perfect amphitheater, and it was that first place to put big wave surfing on the map. There were people surfing obviously around the world surfing big waves, but that was like at one point the epicenter and kind of peak of big wave surfing, and it still kind of is in a way because of the competition. And it's cool that they can keep it like that, because that event is so prestigious. It keeps Waimea Bay on the map, and it's a lot different than obviously Peahi, Jaws, and Mavericks and all these other waves across the world. It's a lot different, but it's kind of one of those waves where it's really hard to master, because it's a crazy steep drop that's impossible from some places. Like, no matter who you are, how good of a big wave surfer you are, you have to be in the right spot. Like, you can try all you want, but you'll get hooked over the falls, just like I did. Just like that still happens to me. But it really, like, it keeps people on their toes, especially in that contest. I see people um that are like, wow, this guy's the best in the world, and out there it's really hard to dial yourself in and get those good rides, because you got to be really on top of it. You got to have your lineups. You got to kind of triangulate your lineups. You got to look at the boils, the current, what part of the wave you're on, and it's crazy. It's a crazy wave, and then you can get that connection to the shore break too.
I got a video of that to pull up later.
Nice.
Well, plus you've always got the risk of that full bay closeout, which I think happened a few times on this day, didn't it?
Yeah. In my second round, there was I think probably midway through the heat, huge closeout set coming, and it was coming almost like broke in the middle of the bay, and there was a left-hander coming right towards us. And I was the farthest one in. I was kind of sitting on the ledge. I was going to try and hunt another wave like that first one you showed, try and get barreled. So I was kind of far in, and I saw the horizon and just paddle for my life, paddle. And there are 9 of us in the heat. All 9 of us got caught by it, I think. Some guys went over and kind of got sucked back, but I was the farthest in and had to jump off my board and ditch. And I got really lucky, but went under the wave and through, and my board sucked me back like 50 feet. But the next one was kind of small, and I was able to duck under that one again, and then it went flat. But if it was like a 10 wave closeout set, I would have went from all the way out at the peak all the way to the beach probably.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a spectacle to see, and like, it's one thing to watch it on TV, like I do. I watch it live on YouTube. I think Ripco had it up this year, but actually being there, I can imagine is a whole different experience. Like, can you walk me through that, the whole spectacle of what it is, like getting to the beach, getting out the crowds, like paddling out, everything? Like, what's going through your mind, and what's that whole experience like?
Yeah, it's a trip. It's crazy. Like, the first year I kind of had that big like, wow, this is crazy experience, and like this year it kind of seemed like there wasn't as many people at the beach maybe this year because of winter break holidays, and it had just ran 2 years prior.
Yep.
But that first year it was so much hype around it, and everybody was here on the North Shore, and it hadn't ran in I believe somewhere around 7 years, and they called it on green. They allowed us to bring our cars down the night before, so me and my dad drove down. We had the cooler, had all my gear, had the board strapped to the roof of the car, and we parked down there and went back. But I remember when we were driving down, it was just traffic the night before, backed up traffic, and we're looking around, and there's traffic past, like there's no parking spots past my house at Sunset Beach. Wow. There's people camping in the back of their truck, in their cars, tents everywhere. I remember we got towards Foodland and Sharks Cove, which is kind of the last little parking lot area before Waimea Bay, and there's like people in the middle of the side road, and there's a fire going, and there's people jamming music, and like it reminded me, like I've never like experienced something like this ever, but in my mind I was like, oh, this is kind of like people are like getting ready to camp out for some crazy music festival or something huge. Like it was crazy. There were so many people, and we got a ride back, dropped the car off, got a ride back to my house, and we actually walked down. I was up late that night. We walked down to the beach, and the morning before the night before the 2023 Eddie, got down to the shoreline, and it was completely flat, like barely lapping water on the beach at Waimea Bay, like 11 p.m. And it was straight on shore, and there was just this crazy dark cloud out on the horizon, and it was just so like vivid in my mind, and I was like, whoa, like something's brewing out there, but I just hope it comes, because it's like dead flat right now. We got a ride back home, and I probably ate dinner, maybe didn't, I don't remember, but I was kind of like couldn't really sleep. And then because a lot of people were thinking that last one before this year's Eddie, the last one was going to be too small, and they're like, oh, they just called it on for whatever. And I was like, in my mind, like even this year, my biggest like worry or fear was that it wasn't going to be big enough. So I was like, I couldn't really sleep because I thought it was going to be small. And then I think it was Mark Healy texted our big group chat with the competitors, and he's like, buoys just hit 27 feet at 19 seconds. And I saw that, and I was like, all right, it's going to be big. And I went to sleep. And the next morning, had my Pop-Tart for breakfast, got on my bike, and my pedal bike, and biked all the way down from Sunset Beach to Waimea Bay. And I was just had my headphones in, and I was just in the zone, just hitting the lip on the bike path, just swerving all around. And by the time I got towards like just past Pipeline and off the wall, like Keiki Beach area, there's so many people flooding down to the bay that I like had to like just barely squeeze in between these people. Just the whole road and the whole bike path was just covered in people walking down to Waimea Bay, and the traffic was standstill too. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, for some reason, I was like, I'm not going to put my feet down. I'm just going to keep the flow and bike all the way down there. I got all the way down there, and then the bike path was so packed when we got towards Waimea Bay, and the road, the traffic wasn't moving. And I went and I was biking on the yellow lines in the center of the road, just biking. And I passed like some of the competitors that were like, I think they were in the first heat or two, and they were like stuck in traffic, and guys are like trying to get their stuff together, like stand still. And I was like, sweet, like I'm on my bike, I'm going to get down there, no worries. And got down there, and then, yeah, right when the sun was coming up, it was huge closing out Waimea Bay. And that was the first year that I was in it. And that was the craziest day ever. And yeah, just got a lot of waves actually, and it was cool, and it was a great experience. And at the end of the day, I was honestly like, I was so beat up and tired that I went home and took a nap, and then like went and hung out with my friends after. But this year it was kind of the same thing. Dropped the car off, and there was I actually saw a guy with his tent in the back of his truck parked at Waimea Bay since the day they called it on green, which was like 2 or 3 days prior. Oh, really? He was there the whole time, saved his spot. So I thought that was pretty funny. But
he deserves it.
Yeah. there were thousands and thousands of people there again this year. I think it might have been a little less because people, they knew how bad the traffic was from the year before. And I think people were away for the holidays and stuff like that, but it was still like crazy crowded. But same thing, bike down there again and watch the waves in the morning. And it was like, whoa, it's not super big. Like, I was like, there's a chance, but I was like, I told one of the lifeguards, actually, I was like, he asked how I was feeling. I was like, oh, I'm kind of scared, honestly. I was like, I'm scared it's not going to be big enough and they're not going to run it. But I kind of had a feeling, I knew it was going to get big sooner than later, but I had a feeling it was going to get big, and it was just a matter of if it was in time for the contest to run. And they put it on hold for like maybe an hour and a half, and then they called it on, and it was like kind of the perfect time. There's a bunch of big waves coming, and yeah, the whole day was crazy. Surfed both my heats, broke both of my boards, and the end of the day, I didn't want to do what I did last time. I was like, had like a little coffee, like double shot can of espresso, and like stayed up and hung out with a bunch of people and was at the bay until like that kind of died down. And then we all went to the restaurant at Turtle Bay, Lele's, and like everybody was there from the contest, and saw a bunch of my friends, and it was cool. But
oh, good. What an experience.
Yeah, it was two totally different days, but also similar, but the waves were different and the vibe was different. But yeah, in my mind, the first time I was like, oh, I'm going to try and stay focused and kind of get my head in the game. And, there's these thousands of people on the beach, but I'm going to run down and just get in the water and do my thing. But then there's all these people cheering, and I was like, you know what? Like, nah, I don't need to fake something I'm not. And I was just throwing shakas and just cheering with the people, and it was so cool.
Sick. Yeah.
And yeah, the same thing this last time, like just saw so many friends up watching on the beach and just saying what's up to everybody, giving people high fives and waving, and yeah, it's just so crazy on the beach that in my mind, I'm more calm when I'm out in the water in my heat, because I know I'm in the ocean and everybody else is just on the beach doing their thing, but all I have to worry about is catching a wave and I guess surviving. But
wow,
yeah.
What experience, hey? And what about, I've always wanted to know, waves that size, you're sitting out the back, you see the set start rolling in on the horizon. What happens next? If you're in the right spot and everything and you're in line to go, what happens next? What goes through your mind? What are you seeing?
When the big sets come in?
When the big sets come in and you're in position.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like you're saying, I got to be in position. If I'm not in position, I just got to like try and get to where I think is position, which is very unpredictable. But I'm just like, when I see a big wave coming, especially in that event, but kind of anywhere, but in that event, it's a competition. So you're like, you're going no matter what, as to where there's like a priority kind of little rotation in a normal free surf. But in the contest, I'm like, all right, I'm going, like I'm going. Yep. I'm not pulling back. I'm head down and going if I'm in the right spot. Yeah.
And what can you sort of compare that to? So you're paddling in, because I have no experience in waves that big. That's just like, a tiny amount of people in the world have. So you're paddling in, you're getting right up to the top. What does that look like looking down? Can you compare it to anything that most people can relate?
But I guess it's really hard. I can picture it in my mind right now exactly what it looks like, but it's a full commitment, using all of your power to catch that wave, paddling as hard as you can so you don't miss it, or so you're not too far on top of it. And then when you stand up, you kind of look down, and I've had waves where it's like looking down and it's like it feels like you're on the top of a building sometimes on those airdrops and stuff. It's like, it's whoa. And then I had a wave in the Eddie before this one with John, and I had this crazy grab rail airdrop.
I got it right here.
Nice.
This one here?
Awesome. Yeah, that's the one. So that wave, I didn't even know he went. I just knew like I'm going. Like I knew I was going. I didn't even know he went until I saw myself in the air looking down, and he was right kind of lower and next to me.
Yep.
And I stood up, and I'm pretty sure I was like popping up, and I was already hitting a chop in the air. So it ended up being kind of like a double grab airdrop, which probably helped me out. But I remember grabbing my rail, and the wave was so big, and I was looking down, and I saw him in the corner of my eye, and I was like, if I don't make this, we're both going down. Like, if I don't make this, we're both gonna
Take out
die. Like,
John.
this is gnarly.
Yeah.
So like, it just seemed so high, and he seemed so far away, but like, I was like, I can't fall, and I didn't. I made it, and then we both kind of like went our separate ways, but
he made it too.
It was gnarly. Yeah, he made it pretty far, and I made it pretty far, and
so this was last year's one.
Yeah, that was 2023.
Oh,
yeah,
sickening.
But that was like crazy, and the video was so cool too. Like, in my mind, it went so fast. I couldn't even imagine what it looked like. But the crazy, like, kind of fluttering airdrop, and it was pretty wild. But so that one, like, yeah, I was just looking down, and it was like, because it was the corner of my eye, it just seemed like the wave was so big, and he was so far down. But I knew if I fell, we were just gonna tumble and eat it.
Wow. So that's a monster. I got this other monster here. You may as well run me through, which I think was this year's one. Hold on, let me just see if I can get that working. This one here.
Yeah. This is like my favorite photo of myself I've ever gotten. I think surfing. It's such a crazy wave.
I'll put up who took these photos in the the caption.
David Sturman took this one.
That's right. Yep.
I actually saw it that night after the Eddie. I went to the restaurant. I had $2 in my wallet. I still had my ripped jersey on, and I showed up. But I knew everybody was going there, and I saw Jamie O'Brien, who's my boss at the surf school, and like I surfed him all the time.
Is he really?
And from the kindness of his heart, he got me dinner, and David, who took the photo, was at the table and showed it to me, and I was like, it was just on the tiny viewfinder on the camera, but I was like, whoa, that looks so cool. Like, you can really see the whole wall of the wave. Like, every angle is different at Waimea. Like this wave looks big right here, and then there's like a water angle that looks really big, and there's a different water angle that looks like it's not even that big, and like some from the other side of the cliff that are like, so it's like, I don't actually know how big that wave is, but
it's big.
I thought this was the coolest photo ever, and my stance is so wide, and I'm just traditional Waimea Bay survival stance, and it reminded me of like the petroglyphs that the Hawaiians used to carve in the rocks.
Yeah,
my stance is so big.
Yeah,
but this wave was, I think, my second wave in the second round of this Eddie, and my first wave, I went switch stance actually. I went switch stance in this heat, and I don't think anybody saw it. But I went because I knew in my mind, I wanted to do it. I wanted to mix it up, and I told all my friends I'd do it. So I went and dropped in switch. But I think this was the wave after, and it had kind of been a little bit slow, and I knew I needed a wave. And in my mind, I was like, I need 3. They score the waves out of 50. I was like, I need 3 50-point rides, and I can win.
Yeah.
And this wave, I think I could have done that on, but I saw the wave coming, and there were two people super far out that I knew they were too far out to catch it, because this day had a lot of ledgy waves. Like,
right.
If like the year before, you could catch them from so far out. Like, if you watch the waves, Luke Shepardson was catching, just feathering in and taking the whole drop. And this year was a lot of more like big, jacked up, like kind of steeper drops. And I knew I was in the spot for it, even though it felt like when it first was going on, I was way too far inside. But I knew, like, just had to shut off my brain and just, I'm in the right spot. I saw it coming, and I think it was Twiggy and Ross Clark Jones out the back. And Peter Mell was out there too, but I can't remember who was paddling for the wave, but I whipped it and just paddled as hard as I could to go, because I knew they weren't going to catch it. And we're in a contest too, right? So like, I want this. No, those guys are legends. But
yeah, what a
paddled as hard as I could. And I saw that in front of me was Kali Vast, which his board actually hit me on that drop. But he was right next to me.
Is that up there near your head there?
Yeah, that's that vertical thing right above my head. But he was kind of right next to me, and I think Matt was next to him. Matt Bromley, and
Yep.
I just knew like I'm going. If these guys go, they can go, but I'm going for sure. I'm in the spot, which I thought I was in the spot. I kind of was actually, but paddled so hard, and I went and stood up, and immediately in the air, I saw the board actually in the corner of my eye, and I didn't know what it was because his board was black, and it was just like some crazy thing right there, just like, whoa. I think it tapped me in the butt in the back, but it didn't. I don't know. I don't think it really affected me, but I was in the air and I was like, whoa, this is so gnarly. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to make this. And then I landed and I made it. And I like made it down like the next like quarter of the wave. And I tried to put weight. I was like kind of all over the place, kind of extended. I wish I somehow could be a little bit lower, but I made it. And then I went to go on my heel edge and bottom turn. And there was this weird little rib down there. I saw this one angle, actually, a video that I kind of like knew what happened after I saw that. At first I was like, I don't know what happened. I just fell on my back. But my board, which this is my backup board, and it's way wider than my board I rode in the first heat, like my trusty go-to gun. And this one I hadn't ridden as much. This is actually the same board that was on that Wipeout that got me into the contest.
Right.
But got to the bottom, and there was this little rib, and I hit it as I was trying to bottom turn, and my board went with it deeper, and I went the other way, and I just like fell. And that board, it's really wide and kind of boxy rails, and it's flat sometimes, so it was hard for me to like get it on edge. Like in my mind, I already made the wave and was like trying to get towards the channel on my other board, but I was on this one, so the rails are a little bit different. Fell at the bottom, skipped out, went over the falls, and my board followed me over the falls. It slammed me in the shoulder, like just the hardest impact I've ever had. Slammed me on the shoulder and like kind of my bicep area. Bang. And when it hit, I was like, my arm's broken. It hit me so hard. And I was like, shoot, like I had my vest on, I guess I pulled with my left hand. I didn't know what was going on underwater, to be honest. Pulled with my left hand, blew up. My jersey, I was getting so pounded, my jersey flew over my head, and somehow I grabbed it, brought it down, put it in my mouth, and was like kind of trying to swim up as I was inflated. And then I got up, deflated, and like took the next one. And then I think the Hawaiian Water Patrol or one of the lifeguards grabbed me and took me back out. And I was paddling, one arm paddle, rash guard in mouth, got out to the lineup, threw the rash guard back on inside out. Like they have holes for like where your pull vest thing goes, but like I was like, forget it. Like I don't need that. If it comes down to it, I can hold my breath. But I didn't know where, like, because the holes were on the back. I think it was inside out and backwards or something. And my arm hurt so bad, I thought it was broken. But I just started like doing like air punches and just kept it moving the whole rest of the heat. And I looked down. I didn't even notice at first, but I think when I paddled back over to the lineup, I looked down and I had cut like my hand or my finger or something. And there was a huge just like crack on the rail. And I looked at the bottom of my board and it was buckled all the way across from the impact on my arm.
Oh, wow. You didn't break it?
Yeah. No, it buckled and it was flexy, but the rest of that heat, I got 2 more waves. I got one like kind of completion that I rode far, and then the last one in my mind thought counted, but it was after the buzzer. It was a wave that I rode the shore break, but both of those waves were like just through the pain, paddle into it, and then riding like my board, I could just feel it flexing. Like I don't know how it didn't break in the shore break after that heat was over, but I was just like kind of standing farther back than I would behind where the area where it buckled and trying not to have that part like hit the water because it had a big D-lam bubble. Right. And it was flexing, and I could feel it just every chop. It would bog, and I just had to like really get low and kind of just stink bug it and handle the drops. But yeah, that Wipeout I think was probably the gnarliest I've ever had. That one and the one where I jumped over the falls.
Yeah, it's heavy. Like, are you shitting yourself while you're up there, or are you just committed and you go and so the fear's gone? It just is what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly like. The only way I can explain it is like I don't think I just go. Like
Yeah.
the only thing I'm thinking about is like going.
Yeah.
But I
Wild.
don't really get scared of like not making the drop or anything. I guess the scariest things that have happened to me have been like being in a really bad spot, getting caught inside.
Right.
And like, yeah, when I didn't even realize, but when I got to the beach, somebody was like, whoa, that was like a foot away from hitting you in the head. And like, if my board would have hit me in the head or neck, I probably would have been dead and drowned. So
Right.
that kind of like put it into perspective for me right there, like how gnarly it was. But there's so much adrenaline going on in that contest, especially because there's so much going on. And then just in a general big wave session like that too, like I try not to think about getting scared because it'll get in your head.
Yeah.
I just kind of blank it out. And I
Wow.
fell so many times in that, like got wiped out so many times in that contest. I think I got a little bit of brain damage too, so that helped with it.
Gotta get yourself a helmet.
Yeah, I wear one at Pipeline, but out there I've tried it and it's kind of weird to wear in the
Really?
big surf.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, one more for you before we do move on to Pipeline. I got a couple of questions there. Like, what have I done here? Do you just love a beating? Because
Yeah,
that's a story at Waimea.
Yeah. You can ask some of my friends. They know I love it when I wipe out and get pounded.
But this
Keep it interesting. But yeah, this was my last wave.
Yep.
And yeah, I knew I wanted to pack one that day. That was my goal. My goal was to get one dropping in switch and to pack one in the shore break. And I was able to do both of those. And obviously to win, and I didn't do that. But there's always more.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
But even the stoke on your face, like look, when you pop up here.
Yeah, so this wave, like I was saying, I dropped in and I heard a buzzer. So I was like, oh, buzzer beater, sweet.
Yep.
And then I was like, in my mind the whole time, I was like, oh, this wave counts. I'm riding it all the way to shore break. This is my last chance. Like I'm packing it. Like this is how you win this contest. You got to pack the barrel. And like I rode all the way in, and I just, my board was so bad. The flex from the buckle was so bad going over those chops in the middle of the channel. And I was just like, that's why I'm so low and just bent over. It was like I was just like full, like gripping with my toes, just stay on my board. I don't want to fall before the shore break. And I remember dropping in, and it just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I was going down the wave, because it was kind of like almost like a skateboard drop into it, because you go from like that kind of slopey channel wave, and then it just like boom, and you drop down with it.
Full shory.
And I was like, sick, this is it. And it was so much gnarlier than I thought. It was so slabbed out and just was sucking up so crazy. And like, I like at the very end of this, like I kind of was trying to pull in, and then it sucked up so hard. I got sucked into the face of the wave and fell back, and it was so gnarly. And I got so rattled underwater, but it honestly, like compared to the other beatings I got that contest, it wasn't the worst. And I was just like so amped that I packed a shore break, and you could hear everybody cheering when I was rolling in and stuff. And it was so cool. And I always wanted to do that in that contest. So it was cool to do that. But
you did.
Yeah, it was like
2 out of 3.
I was claiming it. I was like, yes, like I was so stoked that I did that. Like that was such a big goal for me. And I was like, I kind of thought like, you know what? Like, I think I might've got a few waves. Like maybe I made like the top 10 or something. Like I thought I did pretty good. I was like, sick. I got up, and like my board's broken, and I was showing some of the boys. And I think on that same set, or maybe a few days before, Ross Clark Jones had a crazy wipeout, and I think it was his fins or maybe fiberglass filleted his hand. And he's walking up like this, which I guess the lifeguards told him to elevate his hand for the blood because he had so many slices.
Yep.
But I thought he was kind of just being goofy and being crazy, how he is, just kind of like waving his bloody hand around. But I went up, shook his hand, was talking to him, and then went up to the lifeguard tower, showered off, and they were like, somebody came straight down to me to interview me, and I was like, oh, like sick, like maybe I did good. And then my dad was right there, and he's like, oh, like how's that wave after the heat? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, your wave was after the buzzer. And I was like, no way, like I heard it as I was dropping in. Yeah. Like, no, like the heat ended way before. And I was like, what? Like, no way. And I kind of got bummed. I was like, oh, that's so crazy. Like I thought that would have given me like a little bit more of a score, and I could have done better. But yeah, I went back and watched the replay like the next day or something. and the heat ended, and then they have like a minute or so in between, and then the next heat started.
Oh,
And my wave was like a minute after, like it was a part of the next heat already. I didn't even know that. I thought I was like in my heat still.
Oh, jeez.
But
Well,
yeah, that was a crazy shore break wave. I was stoked I was able to connect one, and
yeah, it's mad.
that was
That's one of my
cool.
favorites, that one. And old,
Yeah,
names like that. We got hopefully Ross Clark Jones coming on in a few weeks here, so I want to ask him all about it.
awesome.
But
Yeah,
one
he's
thing,
the man.
oh, he's a maniac, born
Yeah,
maniac. I think that's his
we
brand.
were born maniac.
Yeah.
He was the oldest in the competition, and I was the youngest, and we were in the same heat. That
Oh,
was
really?
so cool.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure he's won it before.
yeah, he
A little
did.
while
Yeah,
ago. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a
somewhere around the
maniac.
2000s. Yeah,
Yep. I'm pumped to talk to him.
legend.
But one more question I just thought of actually. How's the priority in the bigger waves? You always got, well, not always, most of the time, you got 3 or 4 people going for the same wave, dropping in. There's no anger. How's that priority work, or how does that sit with bigger waves as opposed to somewhere like Pipe, which we'll talk about briefly next?
Yeah,
It just seems to be okay. Like, how's that work?
yeah. So Waimea Bay is kind of like the only place where it's like it's okay to do, because just
Okay.
traditionally, like it's like a cool wave, the party wave, and you're like most of the time, most waves only allow you to go straight and make the drop. So there is room for a lot of people. But on occasion, like there's waves with a different line, and if somebody drops in, it can be dangerous. But if that's going to happen, usually people will call off and like give a little ho, or kind of let
Right.
people know that you're going. And people will do that in the contest too if they want to wave to themselves and stuff. Like I feel like I may have done that one time, but I don't even remember. Like I said, brain is scrambled. Nah. But yeah, Waimea Bay, it's not too big of a deal unless it's like a crazy big wave, and if you're like really close to somebody, you could kind of hinder their ability to ride the wave. Like if you make somebody, like force somebody to go straight into a dangerous spot and you kind of go down the line, it's bad. But in the eddy, like it's not, there's no interferences. It's not really frowned upon. It's kind of just a part of surfing Waimea Bay, and how they like score it is like usually the steepest and deepest gets the highest ride. And if there's 4 people on the wave, it kind of goes like deepest is the highest scoring, and then it goes down from there, and the guy on the shoulder will get the lowest score since they have to score it.
Yeah, right, okay.
But any other wave, it's a no-go.
Yeah, it's a no-go. Well, jumping from that into Pipe now, which I want to talk about, obviously that's a clear no-go. But like last time I checked, I'm pretty sure Pipe is the deadliest wave in the world and has got one of the heaviest lineups in the world. Can you just give me a rundown of that wave through your eyes?
Yeah, it sure is. It's the gnarliest, most dangerous wave in the world. And growing up watching the Pipe Masters and surf contests on online, I was like, or on the TV, I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna surf there. Like when I was just a kid on the Big Island who had never even seen a wave that big. And then we'd come out, and I watched the contest a few times when I was little, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like so many people are into this. There's so many people on the beach and stuff, and it was cool. And then moving out here, I was like definitely like intimidated by it, but I knew like it was something I wanted to try and do since I was here and had the opportunity. And I guess like when I first started going out there, like the first whole year, I would sit out in the shoulder just kind of watching, and there's actually a really cool photo somebody got of me when I was just like probably 14 or 15, just nose in the water, just sitting on my step up, and there's like a sick wave barreling. And there's like I spent a lot of time just watching and being on that end bowl kind of closer to where the photographers sit and take photos, and just like really watching and learning. And I remember the first big day I went out there, I was with Isaiah, Uncle Sean's son, lives here, and we went out together after school and biked down there. And I remember watching, and it was like the first big gnarly swell, and it was really good, and there was a lot of people out, and just like the waves and the amount of people and just the carnage and just like people yelling. And it honestly, in my mind, it felt like a war zone. It was like, well, this is like battle, like these guys are warriors. And that day I got like my first closeout that was probably like a little 5-footer, but got the vision and stuff, and I was like, oh, like I can make the drop and pull in. But yeah, I spent like a long time just kind of sitting and waiting and trying not to get in anybody's way, and just sitting out there. And then as I got a few more waves, and like I was saying, Uncle Kalani and all those guys helping me out there, I was able to kind of sneak in and get a few decent, better waves, insiders, and now I'm trying to work my way up and try and get some set waves and stuff. And I try and just surf out there as much as I can, because even if it is a day with a lot of closeouts or like a bad direction or bad wind, like the opportunity is always there. So I try and be out there as much as I can, because it's gonna be somebody's gonna get the wave. If you're not out there, you're not gonna get it. So it can come to anybody, and it's just whoever's in the right spot and paddling the hardest.
Yep.
But it's a crazy lineup, crazy zone over there.
Yeah. And you still got that full pecking order with I don't know, a certain amount of locals sitting at the top controlling everything, or is it just whoever's inside?
Totally. There's definitely like the guys that are just put their life on the line, dedicated their whole life to surfing pipeline, and just the guys from the North Shore are at the top for sure.
Yeah.
And
do you ever get these
there's
people
definitely
Sorry, mate, keep going.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of people from here who surf it. So like on the best days, it's super hard, because there's like, you're looking, like in my mind, like I'm looking at the peak right now, or I'm sitting at like around the peak, and I'm like, oh, there's like 25 guys out here who are without a doubt going on a wave before I can go on a wave. And like, at least, like, like sometimes it gets so crowded and you're kind of just sitting out there like, dang, like this is gonna hopefully I get lucky. That's what it is a lot, is getting lucky for myself, because I'm not close to the high up of the pecking order at all. I just try and spend my time out there, and maybe one day I'll get up there and have that. But there's so many guys that have just put their whole life dedicated towards that, so they're up there, and if people are in the way or anything, they get told straight for sure. And there's not as many fights as there were back in the day and stuff, but there's definitely guys that'll hold it down too.
Yep. So it's just time and respect in the water, and that's how you climb it. Just keep going.
Yeah. And just not like pushing and like trying to do something you shouldn't be doing yet. Like if you're like a grom sitting on the shoulder, like I always would try and sit on the shoulder, and like I'd sneak around and try and get a few waves, but like shouldn't be like really, like even me right now, like I feel like so weird paddling deeper than guys that I know are like legends and stuff. Like I get all kind of freaked out by that sometimes. So sometimes I'll just sit and drift, but it's just like, it's crazy. The whole lineup and everything, it's nuts. There's like 60 people out, and between the photographers and the drones buzzing around, and people like the gnarly guys out there, and then people that shouldn't be out there, and it's so crazy. It's the wildest place ever.
Yeah, I'd love to see it one day. So you still get those people who just fly in and just have no respect and just get in there and cause chaos, or it's pretty locked down?
Yeah, there are every once in a while just people that shouldn't be out there, and people that are kind of sneaking a lot and kind of taking a lot of waves, which isn't the coolest. And if it's bad enough, they'll get told straight for sure.
Yep, get a little correction.
Yeah.
And what about you? Most unforgettable wave at Pipe to date? I've got a picture of one here if you need some help.
My most unforgettable wave at Pipe was, I was probably 15 or 16. I'm not sure. It was a few years back for sure, and it was just one of the bigger days of the winter, and it was on the way down. Guys had been surfing all day, and it was just kind of messy and stormy, and I'm pretty sure I was at school at that age. Like a few years ago, I probably would have just been at school, and I got off school and I showed up to the Volcom house, and I had my board down there, and I was like, had it ready, and it was big, and I was like, went up to the top floor of the bigger Jerry Lopez house. We were watching it with all my friends, and there's one guy out on a boogie board, and I was like, you know what, like, had school all day, I'm just gonna paddle out and try and catch one. And I was riding at 8.4, like just huge gun, 8.4, paddled out and made it somehow. Got sucked really far down. It's really hard to paddle out on the big board when those sandbar waves are just dumping, but made it out. And I did like this huge loop and paddled all the way around, and I was like right kind of outside of first reef, but right in between like second reef. I was gonna try and just catch like a big roll in, And I just like, it was one continuous paddle from when I got in the beach all the way into catching this wave. And I was paddling out, and then the wave came, changed my angle and paddled into the wave. And it was kind of this like, almost like fake little chip in, like it had a little bit of white water. And I got in early and bottom turned, and I just like, I knew like everybody was on the beach was watching, and I was the only one out. And I was like, yeah, like I'm out here, like I came out here for a reason, like got this wave, got barreled and stood straight up and was just like as tall as I could go, just straight up in the barrel. And it was so big and so dark. And it was like still one of the biggest barrels I've been in out there. And it spit so hard, and I flew off my board coming out of the barrel. And I just like, it spit, and then I fell out of the barrel, and I'll never forgive myself for that one. It would have been one of the best waves I've got. And I think about that all the time.
Oh no.
And like my friends are watching, and the only evidence of it is this iPhone video that my friend took, and everybody's watching from the top story of the house. They're like, whoa, no way. And it spit, and then they're like, oh, and I just let everybody down.
Oh no,
But
mate.
that one I'll never forget. It's not I mean, it's a happy memory, but it's not a good one.
Yeah. The lesson.
But
What
after that, I got some more advice. Oh yeah, that's around the same time. But after that, I got some more advice from Jamie O'Brien, and he had seen I got spit off my board.
Yep.
He's like, when the wave spits out there, I always get as low as I can. So, and I was just straight up flagpole, just flopped over. So now I try and remember to get low.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like same thing, little things I pick up on. Like he told me that, like, get low when the wave spits.
And he's one of the masters out there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because you went in the Pipe Masters this year?
Yeah, just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, how was that experience?
It was super cool. Yeah, I was like, that was another one of those things. Like I never thought I would be in the Pipe Masters, and I know they changed it to like the Vans thing, and there wasn't the trials, and I was like always like, oh, maybe like one day I could get in the Pipe trials. And that was never a thing anymore. And they changed it to Vans. It was invitational, and I always kind of thought like, oh, like I'll never get in that. Like nobody really like knows, like nobody really sees me like surfing out there. Nobody really knows me. I thought I was more just like, you know, doing it for myself, and not a lot of people are seeing. But I got the text this year. I got a text saying, check your WhatsApp. You're invited to the Vans Pipe Masters. All the info's on WhatsApp. And I was like,
scam.
Wait a minute, WhatsApp. Like, yeah, this is a scam. And I wrote back, and it said like, hi, this is Jody, and this is Nathan Fletcher, and congratulations. Like, I was like, all right. Like, and I just talked to one of my friends. We had both like been like, oh, like we're not in the Pipe Masters, like still checking the mailbox for it, you know, just kind of joking around. And he had said something like, oh, like we should send out some fake invites. So in my mind, I was like, okay, like this is very, very suspicious.
Shit stirring.
And I read it, and I wrote back, I was like, wow, no way, this is so cool. I hope this isn't a prank. Haha. And she texted me back and was like, no, like whatever, and like called me. And then I got an email with all the stuff because my WhatsApp wasn't working at the time. But I was like, wow, I got in the Pipe Masters, and it was super sick. And got my boards ready and stuff, and was just kind of staying ready for that whole holding period. It was, I think we only got let known that we were in maybe like a week or two before.
Shit.
And they had like a little opening ceremony thing, and the first few days were like on the forecast were going to be really good, and then they ended up not being that good. They ran like a day of women's, and the first two rounds of the men's were really small, and I was, in my mind, I was kind of surfing it like a heat. Like I would have made my heats, but it's based on like the leaderboard, like kind of same as how the Eddie is scored too. It's like there's a leaderboard, like you can get your waves from any round. And on the small days, I was like, oh, I should have just been like really trying to land like a cool air or something to get like at least a score on the small days before it gets big, and have something as a backup. But I was getting like barrels where I was like as low as you could go, just head between my knees, and just like, and I had a few turns and did like a little chop hop. But I realized like I should have just waited for a set and tried to like either got barreled or do some better maneuvers, but it was a good learning experience for sure. But those first 2 rounds were small, and I surfed good for considering the heat. Like, I got a bunch of waves and stuff, but I had nothing going into the leaderboard on the 3rd round, and I think I needed like at least a few like pretty big scores. And the 3rd round and final day, big swell all day long, and my heat had been moved to like more in the morning. They were shuffling the heats around, so went out, and the heat before mine, and I think the heat before that, were just like, they're perfect waves. I was like, oh, this is so sick.
Yeah.
And I went out, and I was just hyped. I was psyching, and it was kind of got slow, and there was a big set that made the current all weird, which sometimes when there's a big washy set, it just jumbles everything up, and it was really hard to catch the waves too. But I had gotten a few waves. Like the first one, I stood up and it was going to close out, so I jumped off, kicked out the back, and I had gotten one wave where I paddled in and I pulled in, and I was so deep, but I was pumping the whole time, pumping, and it was the longest barrel I've ever got at pipe. And right at the end, I just saw whitewater crumble, just shut me down, and I tried to just like, football and just punch through it, but it got me. And then my board broke on that one. Got to the beach, ran, got my other board. My dad and my sister brought my backup board down the beach, met up with them, went back out, and then I was like, shoot, like, I guess there's still kind of a chance. I just got to really like jam it. And every round I had, I couldn't hear because the wind was strong.
Right.
I didn't have a watch on. I didn't know what was going on. I thought there was like 4 minutes left. There was like 10. I thought in the first round, I thought there was 1 minute left, and there was 9. Like, I was all over the place. But yeah, I went out and got like a big closeout, and I don't know, I had a lot of fun because I got to like pull into like solid waves and get the vision. And I had a couple cool waves that morning too, but I didn't like do as good as I wanted to, obviously, in the contest, but it was super cool to be a part of that. And just like, yeah, having that was like, wow, it's so cool. And I think that day I had gone over next door where, I don't know if you guys saw, but we were running the live broadcast on the Black Bear Surf Club YouTube. And I was like doing commentating on that pretty much every day. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. So we were based out of the house just next to the Volcom house. It used to be the old Quicksilver house, but where Legend and Mononalu Chandler live, like the Ohana house. And we were over there, and that was when Billy had just gotten off the phone with Uncle Clyde saying that Eddie's going to go on yellow alert. So I was like, all right, like I didn't do good in my heat, but now it's like a full switch, like time to focus for the next one. But definitely had fun. Like, went and hung out at the lobby bar in Turtle Bay, and like all the guys from the contest and everybody. There's a big party up there, so that was fun. And got to see everybody after the contest, congratulate them all.
So sick. And
yeah,
I'll bring this photo up because I've got it here. But like, fuck it, another big wave. Hold on, if I can get this. There we go.
Yeah,
that's huge.
My dad took that photo actually. Yeah, that was a few years ago as well, and that was on.
That's a pipe, isn't it?
That's at pipe, and that was on a board. There's like my whole first couple of years living here, I used to be kind of just scrambling around for boards. I'd break so many boards because I was just catching closeouts and getting caught inside, and just every board I'd get was like, somebody would be like, oh, I got this board for you, and it was like an old one from under the house, or like just like thin brown, banana. I would ride any kind of board people would give me, and that's kind of what this board was. It was given to me, I believe, by Kaleo Roberson, I think. And he'd given me this board, and it's 7-1 with glass-ons, and it's just the most bananaed out rocker board. I think it actually helped get some air under my board for this airdrop, but this was just another one of those days where it was washy and huge and not a lot of people out. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out. Went out, and I think I got like a big closeout that day where I kind of rolled in. And then this one was like, I saw the wave, and I thought it had more of a wall. I thought I was going to airdrop and pull into the barrel, but I paddled super hard and was like on top of it. But I was like, I'm going anyway. I'm not going to get sucked over the falls. So stood up, and that was probably the craziest, most gnarly airdrop I've had, especially out there, like just like fluttering the board and like somehow like extended and made it, and then was able to bottom turn and like kind of kick out. But Yeah, that I thought that photo
Wow.
was so cool because you can see how big the wave is, and it's like it's just fully standing up, like pretty big for a pipe wave and
Yeah,
the
that's
airdrop.
huge. And what about this bloke here? Is that a bloke there in front of you?
Yeah, I think I actually saw him after I kicked out getting washed in, and he had a broken board, and yeah, it's
Oh,
another guy in a white helmet, but he
not the
got
spot
that
you want
thing
to be?
right on the face. No.
Jeez. Yeah,
Not at
it's
all.
so heavy, so heavy. Well, I found that one when I was doing a bit of background research, and I noticed as well, like outside of surfing, you managed to go do a bit of fishing with, was it Ballaram in New York?
Yeah.
What was that like? 'Cause we're
I
pretty
went
heavy
to
on the
the
fishing
east.
here.
Yeah, I went to the East Coast a couple years back. Went to New York and kind of did a whole tour. We drove down and surfed in the Outer Banks. It was like a Volcom trip. They rented a house down there. But when I was up in New York, the waves got small, and yeah, Balaram's huge fisherman, super into it, super good at
Legend.
fishing, and
Yep.
yeah, like I don't go as much as I'd like to, but if I have the chance, I'd love to go fish. And he's like, yeah, like my friend's got this boat, or I think we were actually supposed to go on his brother's boat, but we missed our alarm and jammed up there, went on his friend's little boat, and it was out of like the Hamptons and Long Island in New York, and it was like the farthest out I've ever been in the ocean. And they have these big dragger boats that like I think they were out there catching like I want to say it was like shrimp, maybe. I don't know. It was like they were catching something weird. Like they weren't like catching fish, but this big like industrial style boats, and they'd throw all the fish they didn't want. It's kind of wasteful, but all the fish they'd catch and they can't keep because I think they were only permitted to keep what they were catch like wrote down as catch. So they'd throw everything else out the back, and it would bring up all the big tuna.
Yep.
And yeah, we went out there and we're just miles and miles out and following these boats around, and we ended up catching, I think we caught 3 little yellowfin tuna that day, and they were all like 70-80 pounds, and that was
They
like
fight
that
like
was the
mad.
craziest. Yeah, that was the craziest thing ever, because I was like, I didn't even know like there were good fish in New York. Like I had just that was my
Yeah.
first time there, and I knew there were good waves just based on seeing like what the clips he's got and stuff out there. But I was like, wow, this place is cool. Like there's fully good waves, and like the fishing's crazy. Like we got in and like everybody was scoring fish, and just seeing those things boil up all around. Like that was my first like real time just out on a boat seeing like that many fish, like big schools of those big fish. It was cool.
It's
And
so
yeah,
cool.
the one I got, I was fighting it forever. We were just using the spinner rods, and
Yep.
like I was just trying to like the thing was pulling me down so much, and I was like in my warm gear at first. It was kind of cold and had to like shed the layers and just keep the line from hitting the edge of the boat, and got it up. And yeah, the boys gaffed it, and we ended up landing 3 fish. And the third one was, it was like right when the sun was going down, like it was pretty dark already. And it was the guy whose boat it was him and his uncle were there, and then Balaram and myself. Christian and Richard were the other guys, and they were hooked up on this fish as we were just trolling in straight back towards land, and they got the bite, and they were team working on that thing, getting it, and that ended up being the biggest one that we landed that day. And it was so dark and took forever to get the fish up there, but we finally got it up, finally landed it, and it was so dark already, but it had kind of gotten really windy, and there was a swell picking up, and the current was draining out. So like kind of the most like sketched out I've been on the water was that night, because we were driving back to the inlet, pouring, I think it was pouring rain, or maybe the waves were just so big it was spraying us the whole time. We were all drenched, completely soaked, but just kind of holding on, pitch black. We're on a little boat. We get all the way to the inlet where we launched, and the current's ripping out, and there's like standing waves, and it's windy and choppy. And I remember like this one wave we went down was like so like steep, and like we tipped so much, and I was like, whoa, like I realized like how dangerous it is. And like I was like, oh, like okay, like it makes sense how people like have accidents fishing and on boats and stuff. Like if I would have fell off right there, it was pitch black and the current's ripping so far out, there's no way I could have
Cold.
swam to safety.
Yeah.
And it was cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Everything.
wow, that was super gnarly, but we made it in, and yeah, cleaned everything up and threw the fish on ice, and it was super cool. And then the following next couple days we had some sushi and sashimi, and
So good.
got to eat the catch. Yeah.
What an experience, eh?
But yeah, that was cool. That was a cool trip. I was stoked they let me come out and fish with them.
Yeah, that's so good. Got to take those opportunities. But
yeah.
Last question, mate, before I wrap this up and let you go. Do you have any goals, I guess, over the next 12 months and maybe an overall lifetime goal you want to achieve with surfing?
Yeah, I've got a lot of goals, and I guess the next one coming up, I got a spot in the backdoor shootout with the Volcom team.
Cool.
And that's coming up January 4th through the 16th as a holding period. So I want to really do good in that. Like I want to win really bad, but even if I could just get in a good rhythm and get some nice barrels and just it's cool like being in those heats out at Pipe when there's nobody around and there's good waves, because it's an opportunity that like some people never get, and you learn so much even being out there. So I'm excited to surf the shootout and really want to do good in that event and get some good waves. And yeah, over this next year, I want to do more traveling in the summertime. I gotta work more too and save up.
Gotta pay for it.
But yeah, but I want to do some more traveling and check out some waves and just kind of keep the dream alive, keep chasing the perfect waves. And yeah, I guess lifetime goals. My biggest one for surfing is winning the Eddie.
Is that, yeah?
And I really wanted to be the first goofy foot to win, but Landon McNamara, who won this year, was the first goofy foot to ever win it. But coming into the event, I was like, okay, I want to be the first goofy foot to win and the youngest to win. I think John won when he was 23, maybe.
Okay.
So, or somewhere around then. So if they run it like next year, or the year after, I still got a chance. I want to be the youngest to win the Eddie, but you know, it could never run for the next however many years. But
yep,
and I'd like to be the first one to win it twice.
Oh, really?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, mate. We'll touch base on this again in a decade.
Yeah, and yeah, just keep putting my time in, and hopefully just keep getting better and better waves. And I want to try and make some videos and make some little sections of edits for surfing and stuff. And I got a bunch of clips that I just don't do anything with, and I don't want to just throw it on Instagram. So
yeah,
hopefully work on that eventually soon. And yeah, just keep the fun times going, and yeah, hopefully make some money too on the side. Work
it always helps.
Keep the dream alive. Yeah.
Yeah, keep the dream alive.
I'm just yeah, it's so cool. Like I was thinking about it the other day, just seeing like how far I've come just from just surfing the worst waves ever and just running up on the rocks, and just like, wow, like this year, like in my mind, I had like they always had the triple crown of surfing, and like my triple crown would be the Pipe Masters, the Eddie, and the shootout, and it looks like that's gonna be
right
coming true this next month. So it's
so
super
sick.
Cool. It's like that. I never would have thought. I always looked up to these guys. I never would have thought I'd be in this place to have these opportunities and surf these contests. So it's really cool. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, awesome, mate. No, as you should be. Like, absolute pleasure to chat to you today. I appreciate your time so much. And one reason I love doing these podcasts with guys like yourself, like before I'd watch the Eddie and it'd be sick and I'd be going for, Ross Clark Jones or a couple of Aussies or anything. But then I get to chat to people like you. I get to understand your background and get to know you more as a person, and I'm invested. Like next time I'm watching, I'll be cheering. It won't be like the same thing happened with Matt Bromley. Before he was just a big wave surfer, but then I got to chat to him. It's like, shit, like I'm invested. I want you to get in there and crush it. So
yeah, it's awesome. I love what you're doing. Thanks for having me on. It's sweet. And I gotta go back and watch all the other ones too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's cool to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, so sick. Just to get to know.
And I can't wait for Ross's one. I got the coolest photo. I got the coolest photo ever before my second round heat with him, and it's like me, and I think I just got out of the water, and I'm all like ragged, and he's like smoking his cigarette, and it's like oldest and youngest in the contest, and I was like, bro, I'm just
different generations.
It's so cool. Like I'm so stoked to be able to just like have these relationships and connections with these people that are like the greatest in the world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, you're making the most of it, mate. And like I said, it's been a privilege to chat to you, and we'll have to do this again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
You're a legend, mate.